Okay, he's going to help us dig a Perc test. Perc test is short for percolation test. So we've got a trowel, a digger, a yardstick, got a small flat stone we're going to put in the bottom of the hole, and a larger regular spade shovel to dig the hole. So our basic idea is to create a hole that's relatively wide but deep enough to represent the volume of soil that we want to figure out how quickly water will infiltrate into it, so we can get rid of some of this organic material at the top here. And we'll go for a hole that's somewhere in the neighborhood of maybe 6-8 inches wide and about 6 inches deep. That would be something that we'd be interested in if we were going to dig if we were interested in establishing a water garden. That's not nearly as deep as we need for a septic system. Those kinds of Perc tests are done sometimes after they dig a trench with a backhoe and then actually do the Perc test at the bottom of that, but we're not going to do that. We're going to go from the surface. Again, this would be something we'd do if we were interested in digging potentially establishing something like a water garden. And so we're going to dig with this, and we'll get a hole about 6 inches deep. This trowel is about 6 inches deep. Okay, so our hole's about 6 inches deep. I've got the bottom relatively flat. And we're going to do, so we can measure water levels, is to put something relatively flat, like a flat stone right in the bottom there, because what we're going to do is to fill this with water and then measure the water level initially and then measure it after particular time increments. We'll do every half an hour or an hour, depends on how quickly it starts to infiltrate. Now we've got to get some water. Okay, now we're going to add water. Pretty much fill the hole. And then we're going to measure our water level initially, and we'll come back and measure it in a half an hour. I'm going to take that right up to 4 inches on this yardstick. So we're at 4 inches. We'll come back in a half an hour and take another reading, and that'll give us an indication about how quickly this is infiltrating per half hour. Okay, so it's been a half an hour. We let this drain, and we'll check and see how much infiltration we had. So we're down to about 2 1/4 inches. So infiltration rate based on that, about 1 3/4 inches per half hour, or about 3.5 inches per hour. So what we could do next is we want to measure that again. Instead of just continuing from there, I'll actually add water. We get to about that same level that we were before. I don't have quite enough water there, but so that we end up starting at the same starting point. So we're at 3.5 inches, 3.5 inches depth there, and we could let that go for another half hour or an hour. See how the infiltration rate changes over time. And that's about all there is to it.